I think to really understand critical theory, you have to understand its origins, its provenance, what gave rise to it. So the critical theorists come out of 1920s Germany. They are, to a man, virtually German Jewish Marxists, um, and they kind of looked over longingly from Germany over to Russia, and saw the Russian Revolution of the 19 teens, 1917, and they're sitting there in the early 20s saying, well, if the conditions were right for revolution in Russia, why isn't it happening in Germany? So it's an attempt to say, well, we're still Marxists pretty much, but maybe our Marxism needs to be rethought. So I think the best way to grasp the critical theorist is to realize they were frustrated Marxists. Maybe economics doesn't explain everything. Maybe there's other factors impeding the revolution. And so the critical theorist began to theorize, started a center there in Frankfurt, Germany. But then as Nazism began to be on the rise and become more dominant, many of them fled Europe and went to the U.S. And then some would eventually come back, some would stay in the U.S. And if you're wondering why, or what animated the theorist is, they said, as Hitler arose, they began to really give attention to how do we stop the next Hitler? How do we stop fascism? And once you grasp that, you can begin to see why they wrote what they wrote, and you can begin to see how critical theory has seeped into contemporary Western thought today. Where often today, at least amongst folks left of center, more progressive folks, communism is not really the bogeyman, it's fascism. And at least genealogically or conceptually, it goes back to the critical theorists of the 1920s.